Guys, I can see that there are a lot of attendees joining right now. Very welcome. So we'll be allowing some time, a couple of minutes this morning for everyone to join in, to set in, to maybe take their notes and be ready for the session today. If you do have any questions in the meantime, or you would like to get anything clarified, then just feel free to use the chat and the Q&A session. How are we all doing this morning? Everyone ready to know more about e-commerce in the UAE? I hope all of you can see the chat box. So here you can leave notes, messages, questions, or the Q&A section where you can also message. So yes, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Lola. Good morning, Gunjan. I've seen your messages coming in. Awesome. So that works. So you have a tool to communicate with me. And this morning, we're just waiting a bit more to make sure that everyone can log in and get ready. Feel free to drop notes here. If you have relevant questions, questions that you think, oh, this is a pain point I have in my business, then drop them in the Q&A, because the webinar I would like to use to communicate a bit, to check in if you can see the things. Maybe I'll ask a question here and there. Good morning, everyone, again. And yeah, so the chat, sometimes if many people write, I might overlook the questions. So I think a good point will be to go about the Q&A when we dive in and you guys have questions. Great. So everyone's ready and fit. Let me just have a look, guys, at the attendees. So at the moment, we are around 77, 80 plus. So there's still a lot of people joining in. I ask you a few more minutes of your patience. Maybe some of you in the webinar chat, maybe you can tell me, what motivated you to come on in the Startup Academy. Or maybe are you clients already of Creative Zone or of ourselves? It would be interesting to know where you guys are from. Are you from the UAE? Just drop me some notes here in the webinar chat, because we have to wait in another 3-4 minutes and then we can start. So Farhan is from Dubai. Oh, great. Lalen left a very good note. So I think that you need to give this comment as well to Creative Zone. Very good to hear. Wow, many people are in Dubai, as I see. Algeria, Palestine, having a business in Dubai. Very interesting. Very nice to meet you all, and very good to see everyone to connect. I'm actually also based in Dubai, but at the moment I'm in Germany. So I'm streaming from here, from Jordan, Algeria, Ghana. So very welcome everyone again. Great. I think you guys have a very good platform, a very good tool, very good channel with Creative Zone. Awesome. Nice to see so many people coming together for the same purpose. And I'm sure we have a great session. Again, any questions related to the topic, please leave your questions in the Q&A. And in regards to any questions or points that you have on the session, maybe you can't hear me, maybe you can't see a certain thing, then drop them in the webinar chat. I have both of them open here. I can overlook them. So for me, it's easier to split. So Adnan is asking me to wait 4 minutes. So maybe I'll just give you guys the question. So at around 11:07, 11:08. So in another 1 or 2 minutes, we're going to start. Great. So we have a great crowd this morning, very active. I like it. I like it. You're giving me some insights of where you're from, of what you're planning to do. This is very good information. I'll just give it a minute or two, as said, and then we can start. Yeah, so Etibar, nice to meet you as well. Anyone that needs a business license, yes, Creative Zone is the partner. That's why we're doing this event collaboratively. I will also tell you a bit more about when starting the presentation. You'll see a few references to Creative Zone. And Wafa, your question on the legal steps of setting up a business, maybe you can directly connect with Etibar or with the Creative Zone team, that you can get to your questions to the point. So, and then I see in the Q&A sections, Bharat is looking to open an education academy. So Bharat, this question or this session is about e-commerce basics. If you want to know more about it, you're welcome to stay. There is no specific points on opening an academy, but you're welcome to check the session and see if you find a value in it. And I see another question from Ali on a successful e-commerce business, that you tried different things, so you're completely in the right point. You get all the basics here. If you need more information later on, Ali, you can connect with me or my colleagues at Creative 971. We're very happy to help you individually. So, and now we have, yeah, Aisha, this is very true. It only happens in Dubai that people wait. But now it's the time, it's 11:08. I think it's ready now. Whoever hasn't joined, I think this will be anyways a recorded and a live stream session, that you will have the idea and the opportunity to look at more info. So without further ado, I think it's ready and we're ready to start. First of all, thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you for all the, overwhelming support that we received. And yeah, as you can see, the session today is around e-commerce basics. As I mentioned, any questions that come along this session, please type your questions in the Q&A section so we can make sure we address whatever is relevant right now. This session is in collaboration, of course, with Creative Zone. Creative Zone is our partner when it comes to business license opening. And I'll tell you a bit more about who's Creative 971, so you have a context to this as well. So first and foremost, Creative 971 is a web design, web development agency, which was established 2016. We're based in Dubai, headquartered in Business Bay, at the moment a team of 24. And the company is owned by two German siblings, which one of them is me. I'm Julia. And my co-founder is Nico. He's more in the technical side. You will find him more related to things that you may want to do in a technical perspective on e-commerce, that you might definitely want to talk to him. Then looking at the perspective of Shopify. Shopify in the UAE started out with only a few people. This was way back in the days, 2015, maybe even 2014. Where we started 2016. Was very early for the Shopify market in the UAE. But having said that, we are originally from Germany, we do have a very wide understanding of the e-commerce market. And Shopify itself is founded by Tobi Lütke. He is a German living in Canada now, that came up to open up his platform himself by selling snowboard and ski equipment. So he wasn't happy about the platforms that were out in the market. Fast forward, built his own platform, and Nico and myself, we were quite impressed by the journey. And that's why, fast forward, as you can see, we became Shopify experts in 2017, and then Shopify Plus partner, which is the enterprise complex requirements partner for Shopify, in 2018. As you can see, we worked with a lot of projects, and our main objectives are the Shopify custom work. So that means not only custom theme development, but in general, integrations, Arabic right to left developments. And we work definitely with regional partners to make sure that the localization in the Arabic countries is set correctly. So this is a bit about the company, so you know who's sitting in front of you and from what direction we're talking. I'm Julia. I'm, as I said, the co-founder and CEO of Creative 971. My background goes back into Germany, where I studied banking and finance. So originally, this is my background. Came to Dubai in 2011, worked with EMAR properties for a long time. And then in 2016, I jumped off in regards to the creative market. That was also far more my passion, and then combined forces with my brother Nico to open Creative 971. Some of the backgrounds or the info that I would like to give to you: I am multiple award holder in terms of inspiring women leader, top women in tech, and I was also a mentor many times for the United Nations and the UAE Business Council. So we do offer as well mentorship programs. If you are interested, then please feel free to reach out to me after this session. So now we dive in with the actual start definition. What is e-commerce? So you can hear a lot, probably people will tell you, oh, I've seen this, I heard this. In the end, it's very simple. E-commerce is a short form of electronic commerce. So that means anything that you buy, whether it's services, whether it's products that you buy online. So it's a very simple explanation. We divide naturally in B2B and B2C. So what does that mean? B2B means business to business. So let's say if you're a manufacturer and you are selling your products to another business, this is when we call it B2B. And B2C means if you are a business and you're selling to an end user, to a direct consumer. So Pri, I see a question. Will you provide some details regarding dropshipping? Not really, because this session is about e-commerce one-on-one, so it's a lot of understanding, but it's in no way a deep dive into dropshipping. I hope that answers the question. So, as you've probably seen, and COVID definitely being one of the main driving factors, the e-commerce market size in the UAE is valued currently at $14 billion, and that's for 2023 alone. So obviously the UAE government is on the forefront to put measures and to help assist the growth of e-commerce. One of them, for example, is government-hosted webinars to explain more how to push e-commerce, you know, how to enter the market, how to launch a product, how to launch a service. So we've also contributed also on training sessions there. Another part you might find is if you look up the TDRA, I'm just going to type it here in the webinar chat. It's called TDRA. The TDRA is an authority that regulates the telecommunication in the UAE. That means they provide certain trust seals, certificates, they promote the .ae domain. So these are all things that provide trust in e-commerce in the UAE. So I will really like to tell you, if you want to differentiate yourself from most of the businesses, please go have a look at the TDRA. This is something not many know, but it's a very valuable information. The UAE itself is, as you probably know, becoming a bit more a hub. What does that mean? A lot of people, when they see it's made in Dubai, or my business is based in Dubai, it has a certain prestige. So with that prestige, a lot of people, when building their product, and I'll give you an example, whether it's the Giving Movement or LC Couture, these are all homegrown UAE brands that use the label designed in Dubai or made in Dubai, and it gives that feeling, they give the lifestyle and the feeling to the consumer that this is, increasing the popularity in cross-border. So whether it's the European countries or whether it's the Middle Eastern countries, it's a very, very big chance. So when you open your e-commerce, don't only think about, I have only, let's say, around 10 million sitting in the UAE. look at markets like Saudi Arabia, look at markets like Egypt, or look at European markets where a lot of times products from Dubai become popular. So these are all interest markets. If you haven't started your e-commerce yet, or if you have a product and you're not sure, might not be the right product for the UAE, don't hesitate, because you're actually, you're actually able to still leverage on that. So quick question. I see, Aisha, if you're changing the slide, it's not happening on screen for us. I don't know what you see at the moment. I haven't changed any slides. I'm going to change slides now. So I'm showing a scale that shows you the growth of the valuation of the e-commerce market. Can you see, can everyone see the screen with the blue bars? Aisha, can you see that? Yes, you can. Okay. So yeah, Aisha, when I'm talking and there's no slide changing, that means that I haven't changed any slide. As simple as that. Yeah. Cool, thank you. And maybe just jumping over to the Q&A session on the mentorship. Naveen, can you, wait, I'll type you an email address to answer to. Also, Creative Zone's team has just shared my contact information over in the webinar chat, so you can reach out there as well. Anyone interested? I've answered the question. And I've seen also Amir from student of University of Birmingham. Very welcome. We will get to your question later. Yeah, let me follow through and then we get to your question later. So thank you for everyone. It's great you see the screen. Let's continue. As you can see the screen at the moment, of course, looking at 2020, this is when we had lockdown, when we had COVID. If you look at the size of the market, which is the UAE e-commerce valuated market, which was $7 billion US. And now you look at 2023, which is set to double that market in a matter of 3 to 4 years, which is absolutely incredible in terms of power that the online, that the e-commerce withholds. And if you're looking at the growth opportunity even a year or two further, it's still set to grow tremendously. What does that mean? That doesn't mean you should fall into panic, but that means you should be ready and consider this as your, plan, as your business plan, as your strategy, digital transformation, call it whatever. You need to set a foot in that direction. And I'll tell you why. And there's something I want to refer back to. Whenever I talk about something, this comes to my mind. Some of you might know Gary Vaynerchuk is a very, very good personality to follow, especially when you're in the startup stage. And, sometimes you might lose motivation or you might lose momentum. It happens to all of us. It happened to myself, it happened to my brother, it happened to us when we started. But check out Gary V. Yes, Lalaine, check him out. Absolutely genius, because especially what he says, if you listen to the lines in between, there's a true value. So what he said, you need to focus, you need to go where your audience sits. So that means if he was, I think he was trading these, these small baseball cards and stuff. So if he would have gone to, I don't know, a different segment, or if he would have gone and tried to attract an audience that's not into baseball, but that's maybe more into horse riding, I think he wouldn't have had the success. So what Gary Vee early on understood, that you have to present your product, yourself, your service into the market where your clients are sitting. So what does that mean? If we look at today's scenario, it might be social media, right? It doesn't mean social media is always right for you. So I'll give you one example, practical example. Today's session is live streamed as well on YouTube. Not on YouTube, on LinkedIn. But if today's session would be, for example, live streamed on Instagram or on Facebook, we might not have the success, because this is an event to educate you guys who want to start businesses, or who may have already started, or who may be in the journey and being stuck. So this would never reach an end user that hasn't been, primed for it, that doesn't want to go down that way. So what I'm saying, always keep in mind, make decisions for your business, you have to go where your audience sits. This is very critical. And we continue. So we go into a bit more active part now. First part of introduction is done. What are we doing now? So over the next 6 steps, what I'm going to show you is about e-commerce cost, the business license. We'll talk about what happens to the business banking account, how to go about payment gateways, selling online. Is it better to sell on Amazon or Shopify? So what I want to say, is it better to sell on Marketplace, or is it better to have your own website? If you decide for your own website, or you may have one, how should a structure look like that actually helps to convert and helps to retain your clients online? What are some of the marketing tips and strategies to run? And then to give you a case study that is actually from the UAE as well, that sustained over many years and had massive growth. So we look at that as well. At any of these points, take notes. I'm not sure, I think that the session is anyways shared, so the presentation should be shared as well. Any specific questions to these points, please let me know. The first section about business license and costing will be directed to Creative Zone, as it's their nature and their business to help us on this. So what I want to say here as well, and Creative Zone has done a fabulous job with us in the past. When you want to set up your e-commerce business, it is extremely individual. So that means if I want to sell products that I make at home in my kitchen, it's very different from if I source product from a different direction. You need to make sure to keep it as minimal as possible, but as relevant as possible. That means if you are planning in the future to sell a certain product that you get from a certain source, try to stick to that. Why? Because the more things you change, so if you say, okay, I handcraft this and I'm cooking this, I'm baking this, the other product I'm buying from here, you may find yourself in a business license with a lot of activities which directly, impact in a lot of cost. And at the beginning, especially at the beginning, if you're first time trying to go after the e-commerce market, it's not recommendable. Unless you have a business plan and you have a very big budget to set on, it's not recommendable to add too many activities at the beginning. Why? Because keep it simple, start, test, and then grow on top of this. Yes, so here we go, Creative Zone, to make sure you match the correct business license and you have the correct settings to start, the correct legal background. Please have a word with Creative Zone, talk to them. They are our partner when it comes to business setups, so definitely relevant to talk to at this point. I think also Etibar has sent another message with the contact details, mobile number, email address. Reach out to them. Last but not least, to this topic about costing and business license, please think about correct documents. That means, how do you protect your business? Whether that's the terms and conditions, the privacy policy, the return policy, anything that you have on your e-commerce site when you see the fine print in the footer, make sure you have that set. And I'm saying that again, make sure you have your legal documentation set, because your website is your storefront, you want to say. So if you go in Dubai, many people go to a mall, there is consumer rights, there is returns, there is refunds, there's complaints, and the same thing happens to you in your e-commerce business, just that you don't face a person, but you face a screen. So what does that mean? You have very little emotion to turn a conversation into, a happy or friendly conversation if a client raises a point, but you have to support it by facts. So that means please do not forget about all these legal documents. That goes also, for example, into non-disclosure agreements, agreements with your suppliers, agreements with, let's say, with Creative 971 for building your website, or agreements or letter of intents with Creative Zone to open your license. So whatever you do, please make sure you have the correct backup for your business, because this is a lot of times, let's say, a little bit painful journey to do because it also requires, a lot of proofreading and going into it, but many people tend to forget it. And then it is creating issues later on. So we want to avoid this. I can see Ben raised a hand here. Ben, if you have a question, please go over to the Q&A section and type it away, or use the webinar chat, either or, because I can't unmute you to talk. You guys can only send me messages over Q&A and webinar. So we'll wait for your question there. Great. So this is one point to consider. Then we're going into a bit more the bank account and the payment gateway. So we've been in the first step. You've looked at your cost. You've established your business license with Creative Zone. I don't know if you live in Dubai, you already probably have your visa and details, but you're going to, to get more into the next step, which is opening your business banking account. And make sure, if we're talking about e-commerce specifically on Shopify, make sure to not connect your private PayPal account. And why is a simple reason. You're running a business, you set up a business, you have a business bank account. So you also need to connect a business account when it comes to payments, whether that's a payment gateway, whether that's a business PayPal account, it's totally fine. Please do not connect a private PayPal account to Shopify, because when you once connected, you can't enable it. You cannot disconnect it. Any funds you get on your private PayPal account, 7 out of 8 times, you cannot pull out the funds anymore. So please do not do that. If you are looking at e-commerce payment methods, follow the link here. Specifically on Shopify, it tells you which payment gateways are available in the market, which payment gateways are supported, which payment gateways are on-page checkouts and off-page checkouts. So you can go about that. So Hanane asked a question, what's your advice about marketing? Hanane, if you've seen the agenda, we're following an agenda, so marketing will come later on in the session. Just hold on for a bit, yeah? So here we go. Stripe. Stripe is a payment gateway that is supported in the UAE. Not so long, it's a bit longer than a year. So 1 second. Please, the line is breaking that I couldn't get all clearly. Could be better with speaking and writing simultaneously. Ben, this is a webinar session, so I'm talking through. If your connection is maybe not as stable, or if anyone else hears my voice breaking, my connection is not stable, please let me know. But Ben, this session is recorded, so you can re-review the session. And seeing just Haider typed away, local banks here charge a high maintenance fee, ask for a large fund deposit. As a startup, it's not viable, need alternative. Haider, very good question. And I'm going to type the answer here so you have it typed and everyone can see it. So there is online banks, which were not available a couple of years ago. There is, for example, Mashreq Neobiz, which I'm typing here. It's an online-only bank that helps startups to get there. It also depends when you're looking at different banking opportunities. There might be Emirates MBD, there is Rakbank that is very startup friendly as well. Please make sure, and this goes back, Haider, this question goes back to the early stage where I said, make sure your license is relevant. Why I'm saying that is if you run a business that is not in line with your license, a lot of banks will have problems with that. And just make sure everything is set that with the intent what you're trying to do. But if you feel the charges are high and details are not as relevant for you at the moment, please have a look at Mashreq Neobiz if you haven't done already. Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Aisha. There is E20, there's VO, exactly. So VO is also, I think, part of this session today. They're partner of this as an online banking for business. As far as I understand, all their applications are online now. I remember when we opened a bank account in 2016, we were running with physical paper to the bank, waiting in line forever, applying and then having to wait another 4 to 6 weeks to get a statement on our application. Thankfully, this has changed, especially with the online banks. So please make sure maybe the Creative Zone team can change the VO banking information as well. You can hit their online link and contact them or apply. Heider, if VO requires a deposit, I'm not sure. Please reach out to VO. Maybe Creative Zone can send the link. Again, we're coming back to Stripe because I want to tell you without interrupting the details of why Stripe. So Stripe is a payment gateway. As I said, it's for the past year and a half in the market. It's adapted. It allows UAE merchants. Why is it so relevant to us? It's relevant because it has a direct connection to Shopify. It is a super friendly platform, very robust payments, super easy and fast, and has the best structure and best acceptance across. So not only you as a merchant, as a user or as a customer of Shopify will find a great benefit, but also customers are accepting the payment method of Stripe very, very well. It allows various payment methods, cards, and it has a super nice payment interface. You can check out stripe.com/AE so you can find out more on Stripe here. Another point, apart from a payment gateway, what I would recommend you to use for your website is Buy Now, Pay Later. So we call it BNPL. What does it mean? It means you purchase a product today and the Buy Now, Pay Later partner, in this case, we use Tabby because Tabby is a partner of ours as well. That can help you to slice payments up to 4 tranches. So that means you can pay up to 4 months for your online and your offline purchases. What's interesting with Tabby itself will have an application as well that allows you to see what are the partners on it. So I can see the webinar chat is getting active again. So WooCommerce payment infrastructure. So Amir, I'm referencing back to Shopify as I'm coming from a Shopify perspective. But yes, in WooCommerce, it might be very different. And yes, for Stripe, you need to have the 3D secure. That's correct. So how is Tabby relevant for small basket size website? Very good question. Tabby is relevant, I would say, from basket size of, we usually say $100, which is equivalent to 400 approximate dirham. Why? Because especially if you can tranche or if you can slice payments, if you have smaller sized items, might benefit from a client paying more, getting more items, increasing the basket size in your website, because they can slice down payments over months. So even if you are, let's say your product is only 50 dirham or 60 dirham, you can purchase more products because it can then break down your basket. I can see Basim, do you support moving from WordPress to Shopify? Yes, that's what we do. So any migration to Shopify or Shopify Plus is what we support. And Basim, you can feel free to contact us as well. So next point is the actual selling online. So what are we using? Are we using a marketplace? Are we using our own website? What's the difference? What do we do? So any one of you knows marketplaces like Amazon, like Noon, Mom's World, for example. So that means I list my products and the platform is basically selling it. People can review the product on the platform. The only thing I need to do, I need to list my products with that platforms. And the other part is I have an online store builder, whether it's WooCommerce, whether it's Shopify. There might be so many other shopping carts that can be used. You can then individually brand and customize your storefront, have different integrations, and have your online store that can scale with you. The major difference of this, and I want you to think about this for a moment, the major difference is that in a marketplace, you do not own your data. Fact. In your own store, you own your data. So what's the difference? If you look at Amazon, over the years grew with a simple fact that they were growing so fast and so well because any single decision Amazon took was data-driven. And that's extremely powerful. And I'll tell you why. Because anything that you do are actually going into decisions that the client makes online. So if you see that Amazon grew so well because of driving data-driven decisions, means because they own the customer data that your products are sitting there. And if you're looking at an online store where you own everything, of course, it is more expensive. Of course, it is much, much, more upfront that you have to go about. But if you drive the right strategy, then you own your own data and you can leverage on that own data. And I'll give you an example, whether it's Mum's World, who's a local example, whether it's the Giving Movement, whether it's LC Couture, there's also one store called Amongst Few. So all of these stores, you will see they grew massively their audience. They were massively growing. Why? Because they built on their own database and they were caring about their customer, taking decisions online, growing online because of listening and seeing the results of their Google Analytics, of their Shopify reporting. And Aisha, that's a correct point. You lose out on so much commission on marketplaces. But if this is a discussion about should I go marketplace or should I build my own website, we will probably sit here tomorrow. All I want you to know that the largest companies in the world take their decisions data-driven and they take them by themselves. That doesn't mean you're never allowed to set a foot on Amazon. What I'm saying is to have a strategy that you, for example, say, I have my own website, I drive my own traffic, have my own data, and I list my products in a marketplace because it gives me extra visibility. People find trust. A lot of people, I can tell you in the UAE, with so many new businesses coming, a lot of people trust Amazon and their reviews. I'm one of them, right? You might be one of them as well. So it is not a point where you say, oh, we shouldn't do it. No, you should do it. But just keep in mind, if you go on Amazon, have a strategy how you get your clients better linked to your brand. So, hello, Albert. Welcome to the session. And yes, this is a recorded session, so you can see more information later on. Let's continue. So here, what I mean, this is Amazon. You cannot change the storefront. Your products appear or don't appear based on listing fees, based on relevancy. So you can see the product catalog is extremely large, extremely, different. It's not targeted. It's not branded as your brand. Same thing is on Noon. Mum's World is a bit different because it's niched, but it's still the same thing. It's Mum's World as a brand. It's not your own brand fast forward. On Shopify, you have your own storefront. And here we're hitting into the next topic, which is the website structure. This is a website that you can see here that we sell as is. It's a template we built. It's a website that we see is performing well. Customer behavior, user interface, SEO relevancy, all is given in that website. If you look at it, you will see why, and I'll explain you in a few points. I'm just seeing there is 2 attendees raising their hand. Again, the note goes to all of you. I cannot engage with you when you raise a hand. Please drop your questions in the Q&A or the webinar chat. So coming back, you see at the top, we have the banner, summer sale special. We have a header that allows multiple currencies, that allows a sign in, but doesn't force a customer to sign in, allowing a wish list, showcasing a banner that's not extremely large, but that allows a peek through to see what's coming below. Clean, straightforward, neat. This is how your entrance should be. If you're in that case selling dresses, it should directly allow the customer to see. We have a rule of thumb that we say within 5 seconds. If someone looks at your website, they need to be able to understand what it is about. So you look at it 5 seconds, then I black out the screen. Ask your audience if they understand what you're selling. If they don't, you need to change what you're displaying on page 1. Here, more relevant on the product page, you can see on the left side the small thumbnails, allowing different views of the product, helping the client to understand the dimensions, the fit. In that case, with its clothing, it can be different on different industries, of course. Showing if there's a discount, mark it in a different color, make it very clear. Color swatches, sizes, size guides, drop downs, details. Make this as detailed and as relevant as possible to your product, not only because clients will understand your product better, but also these details are all found online and they are all listed online. So there is an SEO aspect to it as well of why your details appear. And some of you know the Google shopping ads as well. And the more detailed your products are, you can actually leverage on this as well. Same thing on the shopping cart. You might have seen it a lot of times. A shopping cart is no longer a one-pager that gets directed to, but a shopping cart is a sliding cart that allows very intuitive movement around, and that does allow, as you can see, summarizing product detail, very easily being able to remove, add more products, and show a summary. A slide cart comes especially handy when mobile first, and anything you do on an e-commerce website, we have around 85% in the UAE using a mobile device to access websites, whether that's a tablet or an actual phone, but the smaller amount of people are actually looking through a desktop. So when you design your website, please make sure it's mobile first designed. Not only that people are actually able to interact with it better, but also it gets you better ranking and scores if you have a mobile website first, if you're looking at organic search engines. Just seeing a question of Basim here. Does Shopify support Figma? So Basim, Figma is a design tool. When you have a website designed on Figma, it needs to be developed on Shopify. Yes, but you cannot directly pull your designs and Shopify displays them. That's the development work. Last but not least, here is a typical Shopify checkout. For some of you who might not be so familiar with Shopify, this is how it looks like. This is a Shopify website, not a Shopify Plus. Shopify Plus is the enterprise version and allows you to customize and design your website. In Shopify's checkout, it's extremely secure and protected. So that's why you will find breadcrumbs, information, shipping, payments. So it shows you have 3 steps until you sign out, shows you different delivery methods, shipping address, and summary of your products again. So what does that mean? A brand needs to stand out. And I think there was also one question about providing affiliate programs on a brand. They log into your website. So I think, Amir, you're exactly a step ahead of what I wanted to say. So this is very, very relevant. A shopper identifies with you as a brand, not with a product. So if you show the same product, and there has been studies, if you show the same product, one on Amazon, one on an individual brand, it depends on how strong the brand value has been created in the market. But usually people tend to build a relationship with a brand and then rather shop with that brand and stay loyal with that brand. Now I'm talking about the latest, the youngest generations that like to also go a bit more when talking about sustainability, right? We all know the climate change and everything drives a bit more thoughtful branding. And I think when you look at that, you have a tone and voice of your brand. And this is what people like to see. This is where they identify. This is where they feel comfortable. And then you can take that and build that on your website, whether you do it yourself on Shopify, WooCommerce, wherever, or you use an expert partner, website builder. or a developer. If you want to have things differently, you can also engage an agency like ours. So that really depends on how far you want to take your brand. Ambreen and Lakmal, again, raising hands in the participants section doesn't help. Please drop a comment in the Q&A or the webinar chat. So Doug, I can see, have you heard any issues with Shopify and Stripe? No, we haven't heard of any issues. If you face any issues, I would recommend you to reach out to Stripe directly or to Shopify in your help desk. And yes, Rod, we do third-party integration. So if you need specific, if you have a specific inquiry, then I think just email us or email me. I think the email was shared by Creative Zone as well. There we go. So next one, your web content. Please know that your website images, your content, your website lives and thrives from the text and the images that are on. Make sure to not use ChatGPT to create your text. Make sure to not steal photographs from the internet, and make sure your sizes, your image sizes, especially for Shopify, as it's very build speed forward, is correctly set. Here you can find recommendations for images that you should have on your website. And if you feel or if you see there is a problem on your website, or you don't want to invest into a photo shoot, these days phones can take very good pictures. You can take your own pictures, but please make sure to stay within these metrics to make sure that your website isn't massively slowed down because of too large images, or the content gets completely kicked out because it's a digitally written content that no search engine likes to see. So you said you should not use ChatGPT. I'll tell you why. Because ChatGPT is still digitally created text, and the search engine platforms understand that. And that's why the valuing of your content is not as if it's written by a person. When will Shopify Gateway be enabled in the UAE? At present, it doesn't work. So Shopify payments are not live in the UAE, that's correct. And Shopify doesn't charge 5%. Shopify charges at the lowest plan 2% transaction fees. You have different plans that charge. Shopify Plus charges only 0.25%. You have the $79 plan that only charges 1%. So I don't know who told you that, but there's no transaction fees of 5% in Shopify. All right. Thank you, Sarah. And again, also Amir, for your question that is open here quite a while in terms of the mentorship or details, crypto payments, anything you want to know specifically, please email me specifically, ask the Creative Zone team, and let me know. So for Rodel, it's 2% per transaction if you're on the lowest Shopify plan. If you're on the $79 plan, it's 1%. And if you're on the $299 plan, it's 0.5% per transaction, only if this is an online transaction. So it does not apply. The charges of Shopify do not apply if it's a cash on delivery transaction. There is Energia Cooling asking, having existing trading company through Creative Zone, do I need a trade license to sell the same through the website? So the Energia Cooling team, this is a very good question. You address please with Creative Zone. And I think this presentation will also be shared. As I said, it's a recorded session, so you're definitely able to rewatch it. Good. Next point is to spend a bit of time and focus on your website's checkout. Why? And I'll tell you why. On the right hand side, you can see the reasons of why a customer drops out. So whether that means costs are too high, the site wanted me to create an account, you see the reasons of dropout of why someone is not shopping can be extremely high. with some factors that come together. So what does that mean? That means if you provide a redirect of payments, usually clients, especially if they don't know your brand, and if you're building a new brand, most of them will not know you. They will have a question of trust. They will just not trust you. So they would need a payment that is on page, that doesn't redirect them to a certain URL. What you should also avoid at all cost, because you can see the percentage is the second largest of 24%. You should not force a customer to create an account. You should let them shop as a guest, because it will increase their likeliness to feel free, to also engage with your brand at a later stage. And if they want to sign up, they can, but you should not force them. It's one of the major reasons to actually not engage with a brand. The next points are free shipping and transparency. That means, what are the return costs? If there are return costs, are there possibilities to return and exchange a product? Is it free shipping? Sometimes it also pulls the value if it's same day delivery. I know that might be difficult for some countries, but for the UAE, it's one of the most driving factors if you have a same day or next day delivery. So that equals with free shipping or same day delivery. Sometimes clients would like to pay a bit more, but receive the product the same day. But I know as well, in some countries in the world, same day deliveries are not logistically yet there. So that's why I'm saying it depends on the region where you are. The checkout. So I've just shown you the cart. We've just looked at the Shopify cart, but the cart and the checkout journey should be optimized. That means you should have an optimized journey through. That's usually at a stage where the customer will see, okay, the brand has taken care to not lose me in the last steps as well. Of course, all of these points are given if you have the right marketing, if you get the right people to your website, but this is being assumed here. We're going into the next steps, into the marketing, so you can see why. But last but not least, I want to mention also partners like Automize, which is a shipping partner. It's a 3PL and warehousing. What do? They pick, pack, and ship your orders. They might also even clear your orders when they come into the country. They offer various services. They are UAE based. They're actually one of the many years of partners that we have. They have great prices. They leverage from all the prices and timings to make it fast, cost saving, and very scalable. A nice point to know, with Automize, you can add your own shipping notes, gift, you can customize your packaging. That can be nice, especially for those of you who have businesses who want to start, who want to leave in a small 10% discount for the next time, or a handwritten personal note. These can all be very nice, intakes that can be done. Question, which warehouse for rent you can suggest? So Lalaine, I would suggest you to talk to Automize. They are actually warehousing for smaller businesses. They have temperature controlled warehouse and a normal warehouse, depending also on the charges on the product you have, but reach out to me, I'll connect you to them. And they use all the couriers. So they connect, whether it's DHL, they have their own in-house couriers. So they pick and connect to whoever is the fastest in the area that can deliver your product. So they are actually really great to talk to. A lot of our clients have signed up with them and are happy. So Lalaine, happy to introduce them. And I've seen on the Q&A section, we have a question again on license. So I will point that to Creative Zone. Next one. So here we come to the points that I think a lot of you have been waiting for. A lot of you are looking when it comes to marketing strategy. In general, I'm talking in general because we cannot all make this very specific, but that's why you are here to ask questions. So in general, an email marketing strategy is where you use your own email marketing to your audience. You're not susceptible to algorithms or to search engines, is the ideal case. Obviously, you should be using SEO, so search engine optimization. You should have Google Shopping ads or sometimes pay-per-click ads. They show very good results as well, depending on your product. Social media marketing, and here comes the Gary V relation again. Why being on social media makes sense if your return on investment might not be as high. It purely makes sense because your audience sits there, and there is a rule of thumb: when a brand is only viewed 7 to 10 times, then a customer notices it and makes an interaction. And also what you have to see, a lot of times people are very fast in negatively broadcasting news than in positively. So your mission in social media is to use positive advocates, whether that's, as mentioned in the third point, on influencer marketing, can be micro influencers, doesn't have to be those with millions. It should be people that relevantly carry the message and relevantly, authentically, over a consistent period of time, deliver the brand's message. Full stop. That's the only way how you drive a strategy. When you think you can only engage in paid marketing, you do not have an authority in social media, you do not have an authority with your own customer base and a good relation with them, you're not going to succeed, as hard as it sounds. Because I've seen, there was also some questions, I don't remember who, in the webinar chat, I've spent so much money and dropshipping doesn't work, this doesn't work, because you need to build a relation with your customer, whether you do that digitally, whether you do that personally in pop-up stores. A lot of people use pop-up stores, especially the winter is upcoming now in Dubai. So it actually allows that you need to build a solid audience with your customer base over a longer time. What does that mean? You have to engage your relevant audience around your product, make them your advocates, and continue building on top of that. So now I'm going back to the questions. Automize warehousing. I will, Sarah, if you email me, I'll connect you to them. And traffic capacity, in some conditions, Shopify is going down. So Bassem, Shopify has a capacity and an uptime of 99%. So usually Shopify does not go down until your network would go down most of the time, because it holds larger sales of up to 10,000 checkouts per second. So I doubt that anyone has 10,000 checkouts per second. In most of the cases, actually, even the large enterprise websites, they do not go down because of traffic. Email marketing partners, that we can do, Aisha. You can email us separately. We'll do that afterwards. And what's the best market in terms of fashion, fabric, and quality? And yeah, so those questions, fashion, fabric, and quality, I'm not the right person to answer. I'm the right person when we're talking about digital points. And I think, Ali, maybe you can have a look at those slides. So emails in Shopify, you can build emails very simply. You can pull in your products very easily. There is a small video GIF on the right side. Have a consistent brand story. Implement a consistent brand story on your social media, on your emails, on any channel that you communicate with your client. Make sure you're actually pulling in products and stories, not only product first, but it's your brand first. So you need to focus on your story, on your why, what motivates you to sell, why should a customer purchase from you. I think, Ali, what would be very good, if you do have a business plan and you need a differentiator of why people or why customers should buy from you rather than from a competitor. And you need to have the right value propositions and then build on those in terms of marketing strategies. I think, sorry, it just disappeared. Next one. In the last point, you see abandonment cart emails. The $79 plan in Shopify automatically allows that. That means if your client types in all the details up until the checkout and then they drop out, they don't purchase. Whether it's million reasons, we'd never know what reasons a customer drops out in the end. But with the abandonment cart emails in Shopify, if you're on the $79 plan, automatically after 6 hours, the customer gets sent the direct checkout link for them to just click on it, put their cart details and check out. And this type of emails are extremely powerful. We have around 30% cart recovery just because of these emails. So if you do believe, or if you do think you need to drive a strategy to get your customers to purchase, make sure you use the abandonment cart email function over in Shopify. Sorry, I think I'm talking so much. My voice is ending, but I can see we also reach 12 o'clock now. So I'm not going to stretch this session too much, but we're going a bit into marketing strategies. So this will maybe some of you help to understand what to do. So again, have a competitor analysis in place, have reasons why people should buy from you, have your target audience there. Influencer-based marketing, relevant channels. Here on the right side, you see why am I talking about Instagram all the time? Because not that people would buy there all the time, but everyone is there. So that's your superpower. Doesn't mean that you have to spend a lot of money there. You just have to be there. You have to create social ads where they are relevant, whether it's YouTube for you, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook for others. That will need to be determined, but that's not the point. You still need to do cross and upselling. You need to link online and offline. So a lot of online only brands find it hard because the offline connection isn't there. And then we come back to a region where where people need to trust, they need to see things, experience things. We are living in a culture that is very experience driven, that is very, cultural. So you need to keep those aspects in your products and in the way you market them as well. Then we have a point, the less is more, meaning collaborate with meaningful partners that collaborate and actually enhance your business. In our example, we work with Creative Zone, we work with Automize, we work with Stripe and Tabby. Why? Because they are the strongest partners when building a business in the UAE. That's why you need to engage with them. You need to create the same for your business in your authority. And yes, businesses, we can help you, or Creative Zone can help you to get there, but you yourself need to know where to position yourself. So that's your homework. That's why I want to tell you these strategies need to be set first before you are then going to spend money on your brand. Yeah, so here we are. Now you're ready for a good start. Last but not least, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I want to tell you a quick case study on Mums World. So Mums World, as you know, is a brand in the UAE, existing since 2011. They are the #1 mother, baby, and child website in the UAE. Sorry, Middle East now. So if you look at how their strategy went, or how they actually excelled. So Mums World is UAE homegrown. It's an e-commerce brand started by Mona Ataya and Lina Khalil. So what did they do? They wanted, as mothers, to have the right set of tone of voice and the right product selection, good quality on their website to help mothers in the region to purchase correct products, to be a platform to support each other, etc. The concept itself is amazing. And some of you might have also amazing concepts, but then what you need to see, what they went through and how did they struggle. So, and I also want to give you this message, never give up. So if you look at Mona here in the picture, she had an early loss of a co-founder, meaning they started as two, ended up alone. She kept the vision, she kept going. Investment is key. So sometimes you don't have to take on investment from individual or corporate investors. You could have your family, your friends as advocates, spread the word, stand behind your vision, make it count, and stay focused. A lot of times it's easy to lose focus, it's easy to lose the mission, it's easy to lose motivation, but that's why you should have a solid business plan. And looking back at how Mums World, from their success, how they made it, it's actually helping you to see what you would need to do for your own. Here is a picture of them raising Series A. So they went into investment rounds, funding, they grew financially to be able to grow the platform into what the customer needed. So there was also, again, this element of data-driven decisions that I mentioned earlier. And yes, so now we are at the end of the session. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. I think there's one question in the Q&A that I'm going to answer now. And then the floor is open for a couple of minutes, I guess, for whoever wants to raise additional questions or any points. Provide a one-stop shop. If we have to contact Stripe, yes, you have to contact Stripe and Tabby on your own, because the accounts you create with those platforms are not accounts you create with us as a company, but you create them with Stripe or Tabby. We can direct into contact person, but we do that only if we work with a client. So we do the A to Z handling, yes. Yeah, and thank you for the Creative Zone tech team that kept on supporting and pushing forward the information. I think, and I hope you guys had a great knowledge input. If you do feel you missed out on something, you want to rewatch the session, you want to speak to Creative Zone separately, you want to speak to myself separately, please reach out, right? We're not able to cover all the questions at this time, at this point, but we'll definitely be looking into it after the session. I just see one question of Ahad, how to get fundraising for your product? What's the best market in terms of fashion? So how to get fundraising for your project, that's not my level of expertise, so I can't help you with that. And the same thing about fashion and fabric, because we run an e-commerce agency, so I can help you with that, but not with fashion and fabric. I'm sorry. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You are very lovely, guys. Thank you so much as well. Really happy to hear you had a good information. Again, reach out if you need to, and I would give the word to everyone else. From my side, I'm done. Thank you very much, guys, and have a great day as well, of course. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Great to see that you had hopefully fun and had a good outcome. Again, we're ready past this session to support and to help, so feel free to reach out. And we have a long weekend in the UAE, so I wish you all a long and happy weekend. Sit for yourself, see what you want to do, and digest this information, because I know sometimes it's a lot. And thank you very much.